If you think you're a control freak, this film might embarrass you. Gone Girl is a story where control isn't built through love, but through fear. Everyone saw a betrayed woman, a poor victim, but they were wrong. Because Amy didn't disappear in this story, she took control of the narrative. When Nick comes home one day, his wife Amy is gone. A coffee table is overturned. There are traces of blood, hastily wiped away. Nick calls the police. But from the very beginning, this is no longer a simple missing person case. Because to the police, every detail in that house points to a single question. Was this a kidnapping or a murder? Amy is not an ordinary person. She is a famous writer, and she enjoys decorating her marriage with clue-based games. After the police leave, Nick begins to find traces of those games inside the house. Each new clue makes Amy's absence feel more suspicious, and very quickly, the focus shifts. What matters is no longer what actually happened, but what people choose to believe. The media rapidly takes control of the story. Every facial expression Nick makes, every sentence he says, is interpreted as evidence of guilt. No matter what he does, the narrative turns against him. As details emerge, Amy's life insurance policy, the fact that everything is registered in her name, one thing becomes clear to Nick. In this story, innocence will not be enough. Nick's only support is his sister Go, but when she learns that Nick cheated on Amy, even that trust begins to crack. Go has always found Amy unsettling. Yet once the affair comes to light, she finds herself siding with Amy for the first time, because at this point, this is no longer just about a marriage. As the search continues and Nick follows the clues, he begins to suspect that Amy may not be dead at all. At the same time, another possibility becomes impossible to ignore, that Amy may be deliberately shifting all the blame onto him. This isn't just a plan, it's the release of long-suppressed anger. In the past, a major argument erupts between Nick and Amy over having children. When Nick loses control and pushes Amy to the ground, something breaks for her. In that moment, she truly feels afraid of him, and from then on, nothing will ever be the same. Amy has written everything down in her diary, her fear, her trauma, the violence. But when the diary is found, what emerges isn't the truth. It's the story the police believe. Nick is no longer just a suspect. In the eyes of the public, he is already guilty. And at that point, only one option remains for him: to hire a lawyer immediately. Up to this point, everything points to Nick as the guilty one, the suspect. But the real question remains, where is Amy? The film then reveals the truth. Amy is on the run, driving away, executing a plan so carefully constructed that every piece of blame lands squarely on Nick. Because Nick stopped loving her, he cheated on her, he ignored her, and Amy chooses to take her revenge in the most painful way possible. She checks into a motel and meets another woman, but when the woman and her boyfriend notice Amy's money, they rob her and take everything. For the first time, Amy is truly helpless. With nowhere else to go, she turns to her former boyfriend, Desi. Desi picks her up and takes her to a place he claims is safe. But Amy's actions aren't driven by desperation alone. They come from anger at losing control over Nick. Desi, meanwhile, is obsessively attached to her. While this is happening, Nick appears on television in a final attempt to clear his name. Amy watches the broadcast. Nick confesses everything. He says he's sorry. He says he still loves his wife and begs her to come home. And in Amy's eyes, a new plan begins to form. What she will do to return is impossible to predict, but one thing is clear: the story is far from over. Amy puts her plan into action. She seduces Desi and leads him into the bedroom. At the moment he lets his guard down, she attacks and everything turns chaotic. In front of the cameras, Amy constructs the version of events she needs. She restrains herself, leaves marks on her body, and carefully stages the image of a woman who has been violated. Without changing that broken appearance, she returns to Nick. The authorities confirm the story. It appears to be the perfect ending. Amy, Nick's wife, is back. But Nick knows the truth, and he can't escape, because Amy is pregnant. From that moment on, Nick becomes a prisoner in his own home, in his own life, and Amy has won. So what turned Amy into this version of herself? The answer lies deeper than a single event. Amy's parents always saw her as amazing Amy. They wanted her to be the best, first in sports, gifted in music, exceptional in everything. When she failed to meet those expectations, a deep identity crisis began. She became the strange girl everyone noticed, but no one truly understood. She used the only genetic legacy she inherited from her family, her writing ability, against what Nick did to her. Although they appeared to be living a normal life from the outside, Amy's darker side emerged when Nick cheated on her. When the possibility of being harmed by Nick took shape in her mind, it became clear to her who would pay the price. This was no longer something that could be resolved through a simple divorce. Amy believed that Nick had erased her, and that this erasure deserved a consequence. At first, she planned to remove herself completely from the story, leaving all suspicion to fall on Nick. In doing so, Nick would be forced to face the consequences of his actions in the harshest way possible. As viewers, our perspective shifts. In the first half of the film, we feel anger toward Nick. In the second half, we begin to pity him. As Amy disappears, she begins to control people from a distance, watching events unfold with a disturbing sense of satisfaction. She keeps postponing her own death, because once she does it, everything ends. And if everything ends, there is nothing left to enjoy. The plan begins to collapse after her money is stolen. With nowhere left to go and no way to move forward, she turns to the only option she has left, her obsessively attached ex-boyfriend DC. When DC tries to control her, Amy's darker side resurfaces. She turns the situation to her advantage and quietly prepares her return. From the beginning, Amy constructs the narrative that DC was the one who kidnapped her. And when she presents the evidence she created herself, everyone believes her. Amy's true turning point comes with Nick's televised statement, when he says, "I'm not a killer, I love my wife. If she can hear me, I want her to come home." Amy recognizes it as a signal that control is returned to her hands. Even while Amy is missing, Nick is already under constant public pressure. If Amy were to return and then divorce him, that pressure would only intensify. Amy understands this, and that realization is what leads her to come back. She eliminates Desi, cleans up every problem she created, and restores the narrative on her own terms. Amy does not want to be seen as a naive, betrayed woman, nor does she want to be perceived as a criminal or a liar. The simplest path is to become a victim, someone kidnapped by an obsessively devoted ex-lover. Desi is not chosen by chance. Beyond his desire to control her, there is another reason. Desi treats Amy like family. He wants amazing Amy, not cool Amy. Nick, on the other hand, is easier to control, and he desires the version of Amy she is willing to perform. In the end, Amy chooses to be cool Amy. Nick is distant from his father. They do not have a close relationship. More than social pressure, what truly traps Nick is his fear of repeating what he experienced growing up. He does not want his child to inherit the emotional damage he received from his own father. And to provide what he believes is a stable life, he endures Amy. Staying becomes his version of responsibility. The one most devastated by this outcome is Margot. In the end, there is no real winner. Both Amy and Nick have made irreversible mistakes, but this time, the film dares to show something rarely explored so openly: what a woman is capable of when control, identity, and resentment collide. Gone Girl traces the transformation of amazing Amy into killer Amy, revealing that darkness is not exclusive to one gender. As Nick's lawyer puts it best, the story isn't good, it's perfect.